This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Goliszew. Thank you, Google Translate. But before that, this video is brought to you by Talgar and David Gillespie. Thank you for being farm barons. So this map is going to be found over at kingmods.net, and there will be a link to download the map from the original download link from kingmods.net. Since this map is not on the Giants Mod Hub, it will not be available for console players, and even if it was on the Giants Mod Hub, it's still not going to be available for console players because it has 7 additional scripts built into the map. Those scripts are refresh contracts, place anywhere, multiple missions, animal husbandry increaser, happy horse, collect straw at missions, and change money at start. So all of those script mods are built into the map. If you usually activate any of those mods, you will not need to activate those. And quite frankly, you may run into problems if you do activate those with this particular map. Now, I said that the change money at start was a script mod. This map has $1 million as your starting money on new farmer mode, $3 million as your starting money on farm manager mode, and $2 million as your starting money on start from scratch. Let's read a little bit of the description. A beautiful map with many farms, forests, and many decorations. Hello, everybody. Map I can't reproduce this name. Sorry, I was able to remember it just enough from Google Translate to do the intro. No more. It's out of my head. I invite you to the fields of this particular map. 4 farms to live on. You can own all 4 at once. Moreover, each kennel can be placed separately. Activation of objects after buying the land. All production facilities available in the basic version of the game, plus a modification for a brewery. For those who do not want to run a farm, you have fun. Cultivate the land and harvest extra company crops to fulfill AGRO-AS orders and contracts. Many card purchases introduce a variety of prizes, and many more things can be found on the map. So with that, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, I am breaking protocol slightly here, and the fact that I am including an additional mod that is not listed as being a required mod. But if you do not include this alcohol factory mod, there will be some warnings in the log about missing fill types or invalid fill types, because some fill types that are in this alcohol factory mod are built into the map. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to both the King Mods page for this map and the King Mods page for this alcohol factory. And we will talk about this particular mod also in the map. Let's go ahead and pull up the log. We'll see the map load on in. I did load the map up in Farm Manager, and I can tell you that the map looks exactly how it does in New Farmer mode, except you do not own any particular farm in Farm Manager mode. Now, we are seeing some entries here about texture streaming needing UV usage to work effectively with the shaders. So I do not think that we are having the proper texture streaming with this map as it currently stands in version 1.0 format. We may notice some hitching when we are kind of working around the map as a result of that. I don't think we're getting the texture streaming, or I don't think the texture streaming is working quite correctly because of those messages that we did see in the log. And here we are, loaded on in. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map. This is a map in the Polish style because you can tell how the fields are oriented here. Most of them are narrow rectangles. We go ahead and take a look at the lands area. You'll see that on Farm Manager, we start out by owning the Start Farm down here, which can be bought for $589,000 if you do not own it. Field 46, which can be bought for 3.69 acres of $59,000. Field 43, which is $22,000. Field 40, which is $55,000. We have a small plot of land here that is $11,000 that contains the hayloft. We also have field 64 for $169,000, almost $170, and field 18, which is $128,000. And that makes up our starting land on new farmer mode. Now, there are a ton of extra farms and extra animal areas on this map. Just let's take a look at all of these crazy icons. I am going to quickly break the video. I'm going to buy all of this farmland, and then you're going to see a completely different picture, I think, with respect to these icons. And just like that, you can see we now have a substantial amount of additional icons here. There are a crazy amount of animal areas built in. I started counting these. I think I got up to 18, and then I just kind of lost count. There are a ton of animal areas, and that's why we have the animal husbandry increase mod as an included script mod on this particular map. We do have all of our crop types available to us here in Farm Sim 22 on the map. Let's go ahead and move on. We have the in-game crop calendar available to us here on the map. And if we take a look at our prices screen, we can indeed sell every single crop that we can grow on the map, as well as all of the production elements. We do also have the ability to sell sugar beet cut, all of our animal outputs, hay, straw, grass, and silage. We are missing the ability to sell road salt, but that's not that big of a deal. All of the base game production items can be sold, with the exception of, drumroll please, stones. Why are people forgetting the stone crusher? I'm going to have to give this a 0.75 with respect to, can you basically sell all base grain crops, animal outputs, and production elements, because we cannot sell stones at the start. Yes, you can buy a stone crusher. That is not the point. With everything else that is included on this map, why you can't sell stones, of all things, is a little suspect, right? We also have the ability to sell and produce wheat beer, barley beer, honey beer, and strawberry beer. Now, I have also added, as I said, the alcohol factory, because you have the ability to make yeast. That's okay that we can't sell it. We can sell vodka that we can make with that mod. We can sell whiskey that we can make with that mod, schnapps, as well as bourbon and wine. We can't sell port or ethanol, but that's fine. The reason I added this mod is because of the wine, bourbon, schnapps, whiskey, and vodka. If you don't have that mod enabled, you're going to get a warning when the map loads up about these fill types missing. So I did want to go ahead and add that. We do have quite a list of starting equipment. All of it is new and all of it is well maintained. None of it is leased. We have a ton of animal areas. Like I said, we do not have any animals at the start. We do have contracts available. Since I went ahead and bought all the farmland, we're not seeing any contracts, but there are contracts available on the map. And we start out by owning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different large greenhouses. All in all, there are 21 production elements available to you on this map. We have the 6 greenhouses that we own at the start. We also have the ability to produce cheese. We have a spinnery, the grain mill, biogas plant, sawmill, carpentry, bakery, cereal, the dairy, the oil mill, the sugar mill, grape processing, the brewery, the tailor, the chocolatier, and again, these greenhouses. So lots of stuff going on. We also have the 12 collectibles from the Erlengrot map. Wow, let's go ahead and take a look at that starting equipment. Go ahead to our garage, we have the linear track 130 and the 6105 tractor. Under medium tractors, we have the Voltra 8750. Harvesters, we have the Nova 330. That is paired up with the Power Stream 500. And then we have, as far as trailers go, a pair of Welger DK115 trailers. We have the ABCC 66 walk behind mower, the 1986 pickup truck. We have the Servo 25 plow, the Lemkin 9500K cultivator, the Hardy Mega 1200L fertilize and herbicide sprayer. We have the Amazon ZATS 3200 fertilize spreader. For our manure spreader, we have the TA 12050 Power Spread Plus. We have the FarmTech 800 slurry tanker. We have the F240 front mower. Then we have the Pottinger tedder. We have the Top 242 Pottinger windrower. We have the Boss Alpine 251 Pottinger forage wagon. And then we have a pair of Pottinger Impress 125 F Pro round balers. We have the Flegel 3-point hitch round bale transport. We have the Silo King TMR mixer, the MKS Lizard water tanker that is also set up to accept milk, herbicide, and liquid fertilizer. Then we have the Joskin Aquatrans liquid trailer. We have the Quickie 3M front loader arms. We have then the Albert Universal bucket for the front loader and bale spike for the front loader. And then we have a 750 kilogram front weight. Wowzers. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at this rather cluttered starting farm. So we have our farmhouse located right here with sleep trigger, pickup truck, our wardrobe trigger, now as far as some of our other ratings, the map is going to get a full 1.0 with respect to production being built in or having areas set aside for such, with 21 production elements. Yeah, I think so. Plus the fact that we are including custom brewery built into the map. As far as can the farms be customized, we're going to give this a 0.75. Most of the buildings on most of the farms, because there are multiple farms, can be sold, but there are some interesting oddities on various buildings that we cannot sell. Like this particular brick building and that particular brick building you can see off in the distance, we cannot sell, but we can pretty much sell all the other buildings on this farm, but we also cannot sell the decorative elements. So here we have our little mower. We have our storage tank, 2 storage tanks. One has 20,000 liters of lime. The other one is empty. We have our grain silo, so we are dump and fill point right there. We have a 3-sided silage pit right there. Now this map does not include a manure heap. I was reading that basically he had issues getting the manure heap to properly work when pre-placed on the map. So this area here is for the placement of the manure heap. So you want to put that down here basically when you start playing on the map. That's where it's supposed to go. Over here we have a building, a custom building, which is for the storage of our root crops, sugar beets and potatoes. In fact, I did a new and noteworthy mod review on this particular building a little while back, if you want to go check that out. Let's go ahead and make our way around. Here we have one of the base game cow areas. It will hold 100 cattle. That is right, Mr. Moo Cow. We have 2 storage facilities here. This one will hold mineral feed or seed. Both of them are empty at the moment. For space game area, we have then our slurry trigger there and our food trough on the inside here. And the milk trigger around the back. Here we have a liquid storage tank for liquid fertilizer. We have a fuel tank to store fuel. We have a slurry storage tank that we started out as being empty. Herbicide, 10,000 liters of herbicide in that particular tank. And then we have the main farmyard here with all of our other stuff. Now there's one more thing that I did need to show you, and that is that we have a hayloft, or I thought we had a hayloft. Around here somewhere. Maybe I'm mistaken. Like I said, there are so many farms on this. I was looking at this earlier and trying to make a whole bunch of mental notes, because with everything else that I've got up on my other screens, in order to kind of keep track of what is different on this map, I am running crazily out of space. So that is the main farm tour. Let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We'll do a fly around of the map, taking a look at, from the air, the various farms, sell points, and production areas. Then we will circle back to the shop where we'll get our Mahindra and drive around to all of those farms and all of the sell points and production areas and talk about all of those. But before that, let's also take a look at the custom buildings that are in the build mode, because we do have custom some of those. We've got a small garage located right here. We have a larger garage. We have a little shed. Then we have an old shed. As far as custom silos, we have a custom hayloft that, according to the icon, looks like it's been made to work with bales as hay and straw. And we have the earth fruit storage that I was telling you about that is located right here. Silo extensions, base game items. We do have the ability to buy a manure shop, and this is where we can purchase manure from. Not sell manure, but purchase manure from. We don't have any custom tools. We do have a custom sleep trigger, which is only the sleep trigger if we were on a farm that didn't have a sleep trigger, but did have a farmhouse for a sleep trigger. As far as production, there is a modded spinnery that is available on the map, and then these are the mods that are associated with the alcohol factory that I told you about. We have the ability to make yeast. Then we have the ability to make alcohol. We're going to need to make yeast in order to make alcohol. And then we have a winery, which we're going to need grapes and ethanol to make the wine and port. We're going to get the ethanol out of our alcohol factory, as well as our other alcohol products. But again, this video isn't about these mods. I might do a video separate about these particular mods, but I added these because various fill types that are in that particular mod are also available on this map. For selling points, this is part of the alcohol factory mod, but we do have the ability to put down a brewery restaurant, which would add the ability to sell all types of the alcohol that we can produce. We also have an alcohol store that we could put down that would allow us to then sell all of the various products that we can produce with the alcohol mod. There are no custom greenhouses. Oh, sorry, there are custom greenhouses. What am I saying? looked at this earlier and there weren't. At any rate, orchards, generators are all good. All of the animal areas are base game animal areas. I looked at that earlier. There are no custom decorations, lights, or others. We do indeed, though, have the ability to paint some custom ground textures. I want to go ahead and put those down so you can take a look at them. So we have our animal mud, our asphalt. We already have our cobblestone down there, concrete, dirt US, forest ground, grass, dry grass, gravel, which we've already seen, rock, and there we go. Trees, we have all of the standard trees, and then plants, we do have some custom things. We have meadow, we have some daisies, we have maybe yellow daisies, bluebells, some of those. And then we have the standard bushes that are available to us here on the game. So let's run over here and just take a look at these ground textures real quick. Before we do that, fly over. So we have our animal mud, our asphalt, our concrete, then we have our dirt, we have our cobblestone, forest ground, our grass, dry grass, we have our stone, and then we have our additional flowers here. And I believe some of these may be a part of the Erlengrot map. It's been a while since I've been on the FS22 Erlengrot map. But then some of these, like this one, they may be completely custom paintable textures. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Get a little bit of altitude here and just do a quick little spin around the map. Get a little bit of kind of a general lay of the land, if you will. Overall, the map is fairly flat with some subtle rolling hills and fields. We do have a few different kind of towns built out here. The farm is right off the town. We've got another kind of contractor yard just in front of us down there with that hayloft that I was thinking so much about. And then coming into view, we have yet another farm. This one has two of the large dairy areas. As we continue on, we can see another farm off in the distance a little bit. We have a big chicken area coming up right here in the center of the map that has 6 different chicken coops. And there's at least 4 other farms scattered around this particular map. It is really crazy how much has been packed into a standard size map, because that is right. This is a standard size map. Let's go ahead and move on. First we'll swing around this way. This is, as I said, kind of set up as a contractor yard. We've got some buildings, we've got some sheds, we've got some fill silos. Here is that hayloft that we own at the start. As we move across the southern part of the map, just want to kind of rotate back around and just take a look across. All the way off to the northern area of the map. Like I said, if we do see any hitching, I think it's because we may not be getting the proper texture streaming on the map. We may have sat stationary enough at the main farm as we were going over things to kind of minimize the hitching. But I did notice that the further I got into exploring the map, the less hitching I did perceive. So here we are with our 6 greenhouses. They are located right there. Some storage sheds, right ready for us to make use of. We have the animal dealer and the bale sell point, as well as the ability to buy various products. The areas where we can buy products rather conveniently are very well marked, so I do appreciate that. We have the cheese factory below. We have our bakery down there, as well as our... What's that? Is that our carpenter? The fuel station. Then we have our tailor down there. The main shop, vehicle shop, is right there in front of us. We're going to circle back to that when we get done with our aerial tour about. Here we have a sheep farm. We have 2 custom sheep areas and then 2 base game sheep areas, and then some buildings and sheds and such. We also have another hayloft off there. And like I say, when I was doing my testing, it was kind of hit or miss as to what I could and couldn't sell on the main farms or on the personal buyable farms. So that's why we gave it a 0.75 score. That might be generous as far as the percentage of farm buildings that we could sell. It may be more like half of the farm buildings can be sold, half can't be, as opposed to 3/4. We've got our oil mill, our cereal factory down there, our dairy. We have a sell point located right here. 2 sell points, actually, right down there side by side. Those are missing the kind of the glow icon, the floating icon. So when we get down to the trigger and player areas clearly marked, we're going to give the map a 0.75, a 3/4 of a point score, because we are missing a couple of those kind of floating icons just to help the player figure out where things are at. We have our sawmill. Then we're going to be cutting across the top of the map. Let's go ahead and, like I said, once again, and look across to the southern portion of the map. I think this would be a really interesting multiplayer map, even though it is just a standard size map. There is so much going on here, so much production elements before you even start talking about putting in the added vodka, port, schnapps, bourbon, production facilities. Like I said, that the fill types are already available. And when I was looking at the map without that, I was like, man, I would rather not do a video and have a bunch of warnings in a log. I'd rather show you how to play the map without the warnings. And in order to do that, you have to activate that additional mod that isn't listed in the description. I wish it was, since those fill types are listed as available. We do have our grape processing facility down there. Another fuel tank, or fuel station, sorry. Now, the facility that we are looking at directly in front of us here is technically a sugar mill. It is a custom branded sugar mill. We have our biogas plant. Now we'll move on down the street. Here we have our flour mill. This, I believe, might be the actual brewery. Indeed, this is the brewery, so this is where we are going to brew our finest beverages. We're going to take a closer look at that when we get to the driving portion of the map tour. As we are making our way back into town, I'm just going to split off and circle the wagons, if you will. Come back to the vehicle shop. We have a pig farm with 3 large pig areas right down there. Now you do notice that we also have power poles, power towers, utility poles running through the fields. Those do have collisions on them, so you will need to work around those if you hire help or do it manually. Down here we have the biomass heating plant. We have our cell point right there. We have another cell point located right here. Here we have, I believe this is a horse farm with a couple different horse areas placed in here. I mentioned that we had a chicken farm with 6 chicken coops. That is located right there. We had another dairy farm or cattle operation that is located over here that has 2 of the large self-feeding robot animal or cow areas located right here, as well as 2 silage bunkers. And then our main farm is located directly in front of us. Then we're going to go ahead and make our way over to the vehicle shop, and then we'll do a drive around, which is going to take us a bit longer than the fly around because there's just so many areas to take a look at. This map includes a whole lot. It would be an excellent map in single player for sure because you would have a whole lot to do. I think it would be a great map in multiplayer also because, again, there are so many different possible farms where you can own things. So down here we have the ability to buy lime, as well as fertilizer, herbicide, and liquid fertilizer. For the main John Deere shop, we have our customized repair, sell, and trade trigger right here. Then we have the main shop icon located right here. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. See where the vehicles spawn in at. They spawn in at located right there. We do indeed, as I said, have the cheese collectibles. One is located right here. There are 11 more scattered around the map. So as far as spawn area for our vehicles and implements, we have a fairly large area here to spawn in vehicles, and we have a fairly large gate in order to get out, so we can get out with some fairly large machinery. Let's go ahead and zoom on out a little bit and bring up the large version of the mini-map. I think we'll go in cab for a first little portion of this particular drive. Cool little sign going on there. Oops, sorry. I want to get turned around. See, like I said, we got a little bit of hitching going on. We have really good frames. It's just we've got this hitching, which I think is the textures trying to stream in, and or maybe the texture buffer is getting full. I do have a 2080 Super. It does only have, I think, 8 gigs of VRAM. So your experience may differ depending on the amount of VRAM you have in your graphics card. So lower end systems may have a problem with this map versus higher end systems with newer graphics cards. So we have our chocolatier here. We have our interactive icon. We have our pallet spawn point. Then we have our dump station all clearly marked. As far as buildings using the custom new textures, the ground using the new textures and such, I'm going to be maybe, again, a little bit of a generous and give this map 3/4 of a point score on that. I think it's a pretty close. It's pretty close. There are a whole lot of new buildings, FS22 buildings. Then there's a fair bit of older buildings also, like this one here that is pretty much just using the flat textures. But overall, they look pretty darn good, right? So they do not detract too terrible much from your overall gameplay. We've got another Taylor trigger located right there, or wardrobe trigger, I guess I should say. We have the cheese area. We have our interactive icon where we can buy the cheese facility and such. Our pallet spawn point. Our dump station. And here we have the animal dealer, as well as a location to sell our hay straw and grass. As I mentioned, we could buy bulk product here at this facility also. I love the fact that we have these signs. So can you buy manure and compost? Yes, you can buy it right here, actually. Let's go ahead and try to buy that. It says compost. What does that really mean? So I'm not able to hit it, but I'm guessing that my Mahindra is too short. Typically, when I can't buy things, it's because the Mahindra is too short. Around the corner, we have the ability then to buy additional product. We can buy wheat, barley, oat, canola, oh sorry, wheat, barley, oat, hay, pig food, silage, mineral feed, mixed rations, straw, back to wheat. All of it is listed right there on the sign. So again, some of the scores I feel maybe, a little favorable, but then we have things like this where we have clear signage on the extra things, like the ability to buy manure that's clearly marked, the ability to buy various animal feed products are clearly marked. So that kind of then is going to skew the ratings more to a positive direction versus a negative direction on some of the other things that are maybe slightly missing from the map. Overall, I think maybe this map is going to get a lower score than maybe it deserves, but it's just slightly missing on some things, like here. This appears to be a sell point for something, but we don't have the little floating icon to confirm it. We just have the hash marks. It would be nice to see the consistency of having the little floating icon. I don't know how many people have turned those off, but for map tours, I like to leave them turned on. We have our bakery, so we have our interactive icon there. Then around the back, we have our dump station and pallet spawn point. We have our dump station marked there. Across the street, we have our carpentry for the production of our planks, our furniture, our interactive icon, our dump station, our wood cell icon, and then our pallet spawn point for our furniture. We have the tailor right here. So we have our wardrobe trigger, our interactive icon, our dump station, and then around our pallet spawn point. Across the street, we have a fuel station. You acquire fuel for all of your refueling needs. We also have a charging station for your electric vehicles, should you need to recharge those. Got two-way traffic kind of moving along pretty good clip along this main thoroughfare. Let's head on back, and then we're going to hang a left. I want to go check out the area to the south of town a little bit. Well, I can see through here, we're getting some occasional slight stutters, some slight drops in frames down to the mid 50s, but like I said, I think it's related to the textures either overfilling the buffer or something, because I don't think we're getting the proper texture streaming on this map, just as a result of some of those informational messages in the log when the map loads up. I wish I knew and kind of understood more of that, overall process. Not so much the process of what texture streaming is, but the process of what does that informational message really mean. Does it mean we're not getting any texture streaming when we do see stutters like this? Is it because we're pulling in textures off the hard drive, or we filled up our memory buffer on our graphics card and now it's kind of going out to system memory to try to fill that in? But we've got our dump station there, the secondary dump station for our palletized products. This is the farmer's market over on Cultivate. So that is what that is, a sell point for. Like the nice custom billboards and everything everywhere. This is the road we're going to need to go down to. Our main farm is located right there. And then further down the road here, we have what I was calling the contractor yard. That is located over here to the left. And I just thought of something. Go back here to decoration, because we do have, under fences, we do have 2 custom powered gates that can open and close. I'm just going to plop those right here just to demonstrate them real super fast. I just remembered about those. These open painfully slow. Painfully slow. In fact, while that one's opening, let's go and open this one. Basically the same, just different colors. There you go. Those are available in the fences category. So we have our, what I'm calling again, the kind of contractor yard, or the big contractor building that is available in the base game. Our workshop building, and then we have the seed, manure feed, silo. It is empty. We have our lime station that has 20,000 liters of lime in it. We have our solid fertilizer that is empty. Liquid fertilizer is empty. And we do have 10,000 liters of herbicide also in that particular storage tank. Remember, at the start of this video, I went ahead and did the buy all fields. So you may not be able to pull product out of this until you own it. Over here we have a fuel depot. It is empty. And then down the street we have our hayloft that we do not have at the main farm. We have it down here. And this is a custom hayloft that's been set up to accept silage bale, or not bales, but yeah, bales and loose product, hay and straw, nothing else, no silage. I misspoke on that regard. Probably getting a lot of people's hopes up. let's go ahead and I was hoping this was a road. We're here in our farm at this point. How many times do you get lost during a map tour? You'd be surprised how many times. Traffic seems to be nice and courteous. They're actually slowing down on the turns. That's new. Oh joy, one of those painfully slow gates. Well, while we're waiting on that to open, we'll just go ahead and walk in here. This is the farm that has the 6 large chicken coops. I don't think we're going to buy a chicken in each single one of them, but we'll just check one. 460 chickens. I assume that that's going to be the quantity across the board on all of the chicken coops. Right there, like I said, we have 6, 3 on either side. We have some just base game Horman buildings. Then we have Luna silos. These are all empty. Now, I think on this particular farm, when I was trying to sell buildings, I was able to sell the animal coops, but I don't think I was able to sell the Horman buildings, which was kind of odd, because those are base game structures. Make our way on down this road. Here we have what I believe is the horse farm. I'll wait on that to open up. We have... Wow, this looks like a completely different texture, even over and above the textures that we already painted down on the ground. So we have a sleep trigger here for this particular house. The Alpine Erlengrot garage here. We have another silo or dump station fill point. We have a water trigger. Several Horman buildings. Then we have our base game horse area. Holds 14 horses. Then we have a custom, or sorry, this is the smaller horse area that holds 5 horses. Originally, I thought this was a custom area, but this is just a small base game one. Food trough, water trough, and the like. Another one of the little tuna silos that is currently empty. And that is the horse farm. We have another hayloft right over there associated with the horse farm. Here you can see the utility pole. Like I said, these do have collisions on them. Smaller poles and the larger. Yay! Another one of these incredibly slow gates. And this is the large cow area. We've got a very nice large bale barn there. And then the large animal or the dairy building with the automatic feeding robot. We have 2 of these such buildings. They are set up to hold 200 cows each. We have our dairy trough, our dairy fill point. And we have the second large cow area with the feeding robot. Some more base game buildings here scattered around, and then 2 silage pull-throughs, one large and a smaller one located right there. Two more of these Karma 16 silos that are indeed empty. And then we'll move on down the road. Oh boy, let's just jump this. And over here we have 2 large liquid manure tanks for storage of liquid manure. That one is empty. We just have some various decorative elements. To that. Nice little road loops around and then back out. On to the next cluster of icons, which is going to be over by field 37, 36, 35, 31, and 32. If y'all need to pause the video and go grab some popcorn, well, go ahead and feel free to do that. We're going to be here a while because this map has a lot going for it. Here we have another sell point. Again, we're missing that interactive icon, so we may miss this, right? But there it is. It's got the hash marks down there. I need to figure out how to get over to that over there. Guess we turn in here. Oh, we've already seen that. That's the horse area. Never mind me. I'm just getting lost for a second time in a row. The traffic on this map is really interesting. It's like they just take off. I'm gonna turn this way because there's a farm I want to get to over here. I don't know how to get to it. Maybe this is how we get to it. Like these roads, the way they've been kind of drawn in with grass in between them and everything. A lot of really nice decorative elements going on. The Polish maps do always tend to have that running for it. This is the big pig farm. So we come in here, we have another liquid manure storage facility. Don't know about you, but I'd open these gates once and leave them open forever. 3 large base game pig areas. Each are going to hold 270 sheep. Just like that. 1, 2, and 3. Easy shed. With more of those Una silos. These are also empty. There you go. That is the pig area. We're going down here to some more various production elements. We have wool mark. This is going to take us around to the spinnery. It's located right here. We have our out spawn point, our dump station, and our interactive icon. Here we have a sell point for our grain. And then this particular facility is where we can actually store product. Here we go. It says an extra silo for your farm or a main silo for grains. Only active after land purchase. So we have our dump station inside and then our fill pipe outside. Here we have our fill pipe. And then here we have the biomass heating facility that I mentioned on the flyover. They will accept wood chips or logs. That covers the southern portion of the map. Now let's go ahead and make our way up to the northern portion. Just want to kind of run along this road and just kind of check things out. We have those large, that's the large dairy farm or the cattle farm with the self-feeding robot buildings. See, this intersection's, I like this intersection. This is pretty cool. Road signs and everything. Lot is going for this map. Definitely a lot is going for this map. Variable speed traffic. I like how it slows down and speeds up at intersections, after intersections. Secondary gravel roads. Here we've got a fence alongside. Let's see, this fence does indeed have a collision going for it. Custom road signage. Really a top quality map. Again, this is going to be for PC only because it does have those 7 additional scripts tied to it. Now this is the brewery. We're actually going to buy the brewery so that we can basically see what it does, what it takes in and out. To our pallet spawn point. Our interactive icon, $180,000 to buy. We have our dump station right there. Let's go ahead and check out the facility here. So we're going to accept water, wheat, barley, honey, and strawberries. And as far as our recipe goes, we're going to need 40 water and 40 wheat to make wheat beer, 35 water, and 25 barley to make barley beer, 40 water, 25 barley, and 5 honey to make honey beer, and then 40 water, 25 barley, 10 strawberries to make the strawberry beer. Let's go ahead and come on around. We'll make our way up here to the flour mill. And this is overall just a base game flour mill from Elm Creek. Set up just like Elm Creek. We have our dump station or interactive icon. Or sorry, a pallet spawn point or interactive icon. Then up on the hill we have our dump station. Like how we have the dump station and we have kind of a lane to bypass that if we're just coming around. We don't have to drive over the dump station if we're not actively in the process of delivering product. A little bit of forestry here, a little bit of forestry there. I would say the map is not a heavily forestry focused map in any way. We are coming into another town. We have the biogas plant. So we have our scale, our digester, interactive icon to buy the biogas plant. Here we have the ability to purchase manure, so we can buy manure from here, should we so wish. 2 3-sided silage bunkers. We have our dump station for our slurry, and then our digestate fill trigger right there. Here we have a custom sugar mill. So we have an interactive icon, our pallet spawn point. And then we have our dump station for our sugar mill. And then we have the ability to buy lime from there also. Another fuel station. Then we have, you can sell fuel and methane here. Now that's interesting. It says we can sell fuel and methane, but we don't have a way of producing methane other than at the biogas plant, and we can't transport methane that I'm aware of. So that's kind of an interesting sign. Here we have a sell point again. We're not marking these. I wish they were marked. It kind of goes into the 0.75 score. And then we have our grape processing facility located right there. Just a base game processing facility for grapes. Here we are. Let's go ahead and take this road out of town. Head on over to the last set of clustered icons. Get a nice kind of view here of these fields. Little rolling hills, nothing too terrible much. Should be fairly easy on horsepower to work these fields. The roads overall, from what I'm remembering, felt fairly wide to get maybe a little bit wider than normal machinery through. Another entry into a forested area. Let's just jump in the cabin a little bit more. First person driving. Gonna get a little look around. Coming into our third town. Go ahead and turn left here at the intersection. Then north of Field 79, we have... Oh, what are you slowing down for, buddy? This is going to be our sawmill, if I am remembering correctly. Indeed, we do have our sawmill, so we have our log sell point, we have our interactive, we have our pallet spawn for planks, and then we have a wood chip facility there. Head on down. We haven't seen our greenhouses yet. I think that's pretty close to where we are going to end the map. While we're driving down this part of the road, let's recount our grading metrics again. With respect to, does this map have built-in production and or areas set aside for such? This map has 21 production items built in, so yes, it does indeed have production built in. No need to have items set aside when you have 21 facilities set up. So we're going to get a full score on that regard. With respect to, do we have the ability to sell all of the base game crops that we can grow, as well as animal outputs and base game production? We cannot sell stones. I wouldn't say that's a base game production. It's not really something that we can produce, but it is a gameplay mechanic that we are not able to basically capitalize on without putting down our own stone crusher. So we're going to give this map 0.75 on that particular scoring metric. So we had 2 sell points back there. They were not marked with that floating icon that we have kind of grown accustomed to seeing in FS22. Here we have the dairy, base game dairy operations. Then we have the base game cereal mill right next to it, and the base game oil factory right next to it. We don't need to really look at those too terribly much, I don't think. As far as can the farms be customized, we're going to be maybe a little generous and give this map 3/4 of a point. There are a hybrid of things on each of the various player farms that we can and cannot sell. And it's a little frustrating from the player standpoint because there's buildings we can sell, there's buildings we can't sell. There's a whole lot of decorative elements we also cannot sell. But there are so many various farms that it's not so cut and dry. You know, half a point. I consider giving it a half a point, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It's going to be a little favorable because, quite frankly, I think this map, if it only scored a 3 or a 3.5, I think that would really, really understate the overall gameplay ability of this map because of the sheer number of player farms, the sheer number of buildings, production facilities, decorative elements built in, and so forth. Here we have some custom sheep areas. 40 sheep in this particular area. Then we have our water, food, and pallet spawn point. Then we have another of those located right here. Water, food, and pallet spawn point. Another farmhouse. This time it's a little trailer. And with our little collectible cheese wedges. We have a fuel tank that is empty. Pair of Horman sheds. We have a water trigger. A large Horman building located right here. And then we have 2 base game sheep areas. We have our pallet spawn point. We have our food trough and our sheep 5.65 sheep in those facilities. Then as far as buildings where appropriate are using the new texture technique, there are a mixture of buildings that are new and are not new. As such, there are a mixture of buildings that are using the new technique and not using the new technique. I'm going to give it a 3/4 of a point for this one. Again, it may be a little generous, but overall, the amount of decorative elements, I mean, we've got 3 villages here, 3 little towns, all of the farm buildings, for the most part, are using the new texture technique and everything. I think that is fairly fair, given the overall flexibility and stuff that we have going on here. We're back in town. I completely missed our greenhouses, did I not? I feel like I completely missed our greenhouses. So the sheep farm. There's a hayloft behind the sheep farm. Yeah, I really feel like I've completely missed the greenhouses. For a vehicle shop right here. I don't know. At any rate. Then player triggers clearly marked. I'm going to give it again 3/4 of a point. That is going to be a grand score of 4 out of 5. When I first did the ratings, I had a couple of those scored at a 1/2 a point, and really I came to 3.5 out of 5. And I felt to myself, you know, that was maybe a little bit too harsh for the way this map looks and feels and the overall perceived gameplay ability. So I kind of adjusted a few of those up 3/4 or 3/4 of a point as opposed to 1/2 a point, and the end result is we are looking at a 4 out of 5. Let me know down in the description below, what do you think of this particular map? This is kind of the first Polish styled map that we have seen here in Farm Sim 22 that I am recalling, at least. I think it's a pretty darn nice map. I think you could play this several different ways in single player from various starting farm locations and really have a diverse playing experience each and every time. I also think this would be a rather interesting multiplayer game or multiplayer map because you do have so many starting farms, so much production going on, and overall we have, you know, 70, 80 some fields on this particular map. So until next time, happy farming.